get going. I know we're waiting for Ken to join us, but I'm sure he will join us momentarily. Thank you, everybody, and welcome to our Board of Trustees public session agenda. Today is May 25th, 2021, and the time is 6:03 p.m. We'd like to call this meeting to order and then to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you, everybody. Because this is a work session, we do not have the public comment portion tonight, but I did want to make an exciting announcement. Myself and Miranda and Charlene had a great meeting with Mr. Grisnick, and it is official. We will be having a July 4th parade this year. However, this year, given that July 4th is on a Sunday, it will be on July 5th, and we will be honoring our healthcare heroes in order to be the masters of ceremony, and we'll be issuing some guidance when we get some more information, but we'll be following the footsteps of other villages like Port Jefferson, who'll be having a July 4th parade, and this board is very excited to work together to make sure that we have a July 4th parade. So we're very excited about it. Thank you to Mr. Grisnick. Thank you to our Veterans Affairs groups for making this happen, and we will provide more information and more guidance as to what's going to be transpiring, but wanted to put that out there. So we're very excited about it. Next, as we move forward, are our board presentations. And the first board presentation is the Sewer District Task Force update regarding the RFP for engineering. We have Paul Travis, the chair of the Sewer Task Force, former chair of the Planning Commission, and just wanted to thank Paul and all the members of our Sewer Task Force for their hard work. We're making big steps, but we're excited to turn this over to Paul Travis.
It's coming in.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you, Mayor, and I'm pleased to present to the trustees tonight for your consideration the recommendation of the Sewer Committee for a selection of a firm to prepare a map and plan for a Southampton Village Sewer District. Tonight is historic as the village takes the first step to finally address the wastewater treatment issues that have been the major contribution to the nitrogen loading of Lake Agawam and have caused long-term economic distress to the business district because of the prohibition of wet uses. On February 11th, the mayor established and the trustees approved the sewer committee. I want to just call out their names tonight and thank them all. And really, it's just in indication of the level of knowledge and experience we have in this village. Len Zanante and Ed Moneypenny of the Budget and Finance Committee, Janice Scherer, who's the town planning director, Rob Varadian, who's a property owner on Main Street, Megan Mager from the Lake Agawam Conservancy, Ann Bishop Rochelle, and most of all, the mayor, Trustee Joe McLaughlin, and Charlene as the village administrator. And I should note that the mayor and Joe and myself have been at this for many years, originally on the Planning Commission. So it's good to hear it finally coming to fruition. I want to say the breadth of experience and broad representation led to informed and thoughtful conversations that were refreshing and extremely productive. The team devoted many hours to the effort and really did their homework. They were challenging phone calls for everyone and certainly for me to keep up with everybody. And the mayor really wanted an open debate. And I think we had that from beginning to the end. Also want to thank the Clean Water Committee, Tom Lulotham and Rob Coburn, who were very helpful in helping to frame the issues for us. So we started out with Charlene and the committee putting together a request for proposals asking firms to outline their work program to create a map and plan, which is really the first concrete step in creating a sewer district. The service area that had been recommended in the earlier study you saw in the fall included the Village Business District and the North Sea Road corridor, and potentially was divided into 3 phases, with the first phase being Main Street and Jobs Lane. The RFP requested the firm to consider sites that had been previously identified by the Planning Commission, which was the existing sewer treatment plant at Southampton Hospital, which you all know well, and the site north of County Road 39, which had been identified by a member of the commission. Firms were also asked to include SEQR review as part of their submission. The RFP was sent to engineering firms on Long Island that were identified as having wastewater treatment expertise. It's probably a sad truth of Long Island that there's a tremendous amount of wastewater expertise on the island. The service area, it was also publicly advertised in the New York State Contract Reporter. 6 firms responded: Cameron Engineering, Nelson Pope and Voorhees, D&B Engineering, H2M, which had done earlier work for the village, PW Grosser, and Baptiste Engineering. Charlene put together a scoring sheet, which the committee used in its deliberations, and the 4 highest ranked firms were asked to make presentations to the committee. I must say the presentations were excellent. I think Trustee McLaughlin in particular can attest it was an extremely hard choice. We really had very good options and went back and forth a lot on who to pick. And after several rounds, the committee selected D&B Engineering of Woodbury, New York. I want to talk a little bit about why they were ultimately selected. I think the proposal that they submitted, we all felt indicated a real understanding of the goals and issues that the committee had identified. The team has substantive experience in wastewater treatment in Suffolk County. They're working right now with the Village in North Belport and Ocean Beach on Fire Island, and also has an openness to new ideas and alternatives that the committee thought would be helpful in guiding the village through the process and creating public consensus. The committee also noted that the firm had responded to the request in the RFP for MWBE participation. And I would add my personal editorial comment that this should be a component in all future RFPs as it is for most municipalities on Long Island. If you decide tonight to proceed, the village administrator will guide the firm as it prepares the plan. The trustees at a previous meeting confirmed the village moving forward with grant applications, and with Janice's help, we will also work with the town as we move forward. There's an environment now with grants being available both from the county and the state. There's CPF money, and I think it's a good bet there will be infrastructure money that the federal government will distribute to the states. It's very important that the village move forward so we can take advantage of those funds. There's obviously going to be heavy competition for those funds. And we have a very good example because the Village of West Hampton Beach has been extremely successful in getting grants to pay for most of the sewer system that's now in the ground there. Again, I want to thank everyone for breaking what's been a long-term logjam in the village. I think, again, want to thank the mayor for creating this committee and sort of taking this issue out of the political environment, if you will. And I will look forward, and we've made enormous progress in 3 short months. D&B's calendar shows them completing their work. So the map and plan and the environmental review connected to that in February, which is actually a very short period of time, a lot shorter than we had originally feared it would take. And we look forward to working with the mayor and the trustees as the sewer project moves forward. So thank you. I know I think there are members of the committee who are probably in the audience. And again, thank you all for your support.
Thank you very much. Paul, you did an excellent job. And again, if any members of the task force would like to jump in, we'd love to hear from them. But again, wanted to thank you in particular, as well as Ann Bishop Rachel, Janice Shear from the town, Len Zananti from the Budget and Finance Committee, Ed Moneypenny from the Budget and Finance Committee, Rob Varadian, Megan Magyar from Lake Ogden Conservancy, yourself, Trustee Joe McLaughlin, our village administrator, Charlene Cagle-Betts, who helped run the RFP process, and really everybody involved, including the Clean Water Committee, Tom Loutherman and Rob Coburn. And that is exciting news that we will have a map and plan and the legal entity of the sewer district likely formed by approximately February 2022. Just want to echo your sentiment. It was a lot of hard work and wanted to thank everyone involved. It's extremely good news. As you said, there's a lot of infrastructure money out there coming from the federal government, coming from the state, and even from the town. And we also want to make sure we're in position to take full advantage of those funds. But we just wanted to thank you for your hard work and for helping us get to this point.
Happy to answer any questions you have.
Do any board members have any questions? Or I don't see anyone from the attendees wanting to provide input, but if any board members have questions, feel free to ask. Thank you to the board as well.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Paul,
Thanks.
and to the committee that helped get this all going. And this is exciting. Two things. We were working with H2M prior to, and all
Right.
the work that they have done for us. That is our work, correct?
Correct. We own that work.
All right. And D&B talked about additional type of ways to go about it with alternative plans. That's really good to hear, because I know when we first got in almost 2 years ago, is one of the things we were looking at with a couple other firms. So to have that option, I think is very important, because we might be able to spot certain areas ahead of time to, maybe throw some things in there that could be very good to implement, and then, wrap this all together. The map and plan, Paul, from your,
Right.
since you've been involved in this for so long, do you feel it will be identical to what H2M has done so far? Or do you think that there will be quite some different avenues?
I think the service area is likely to be the same. We've spent many years going through the service area that makes sense. So I would be surprised if that is going to change very much. What I think will change, and I think one of the reasons we ended up with D&B, is there certainly are a lot of options out there. And I think there'll be a more exhaustive exploration of those options than we saw in the past. So when we get to the end, I'm hoping village residents really feel we've looked at every possibility.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Paul, thank you, and thank you to all the committee members as well. Just with regard to the service area, so you had said there were going to be 3 phases, and it's going to be Main Street and that. Is that the only place that the sewer district is going to look at, or are we going to look at the full village outline as well? Good,
that's an excellent point. So actually the way it works is the sewer, and Ken will correct me. I know he has a lot of expertise in this area. The sewer district is actually the entire village.
Okay, perfect.
And then you create service areas. I think one of the things, and thank you, Trustee Polaro, for bringing that up. One of the things that's very important to us and really came up in the interviews was making sure you have a site that can accommodate further expansion of the service area. So you think of a village like Sag Harbor, they're now in the midst of expanding their service area. So you want a site that's large enough. I assume eventually we're going to want, for example, Hampton Road to be part of the service area. So you really need a site that's large enough to accommodate that.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Polaro. I see we have Ann Rachel's hand up.
Hi, can you hear me? I just wanted to also address, Mark asked, did you think that the map and plan would be similar? It it was established, and H2M said this as well, that they're, even though we do own everything they've done, that map and plan was going to have to be updated and changed considerably because so much has changed since that time. So it's not like that was just going to be something we could just go with. They were going to have to also create like basically a new map and plan. So I just wanted to say that was something that we took into consideration.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I don't know if we have any more comments. We'll wait a moment to see some more hands. If not, we have one of our town trustees, Ann Welker, up next, but we'll just give it another few more seconds, see if there's any more hands. And also, I'm looking forward to this being our last Zoom meeting with our hands up here. Okay, we'll move on to our next.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Paul. Great
Thanks,
job.
Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
All right.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
The next board presentation is regarding piping plover assistance. We have our town trustee, Ann Welker. We're both missing our swim tonight, but we're happy to be here. So Ann, you're up. We're all ears. And thank you for being here.
So welcome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I hope you're having a great night, and that's great to hear that perhaps this is your last Zoom meeting, that you'll be back in person. That would be wonderful. My name's Ann Welker. I'm a Southampton Town trustee. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak this evening. The town trustees conduct a threatened and endangered species monitoring program throughout the town of Southampton, including Southampton Village. This is under the regulation of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Department and the New York State DEC. It's conducted in order to protect threatened and endangered species on our beaches. The species protected by this program include 2 avian species, the federally threatened and New York State endangered piping plover, the New York State threatened least tern, and along with 2 annual coastal plants, the federally and New York State threatened sea beach amaranth and the New York State listed rare species of special concern, sea beach knotweed. And I'm really here tonight about piping plovers. This program is run to protect the town, the village, and its residents and freeholders from any take of these species throughout the season. And take is defined by the Endangered Species Act as an intent to harm, disturb, or injure any of the species that are protected by the Endangered Species Program. The species runs seasonally from late March to middle of September, and it's currently funded by the Southampton Town Trustees. An extensive report is generated at the end of the year, and this data is used to keep track of the numbers as they increase, because that's really what we're working toward. If you think back to the 1960s, I think, when Rachel Carson wrote Silent Spring, that was really the forerunner for some of this work with endangered species. She brought to light that many birds had been, were not able to reproduce because of DDT. As a result of that, many years later, our osprey population, which was protected for many, many years, is now thriving. So about 21, that's what we hope will happen with piping plovers as well. About 21 miles of oceanfront beach are monitored in the town. 7 miles consist of the Southampton Village beaches. The trustees have successfully run a program since about 1998, and in years past, the Village of Southampton has contributed monetarily to the town trustees program to help cover the costs of village plover monitoring. This contribution has not been made since approximately 2017. So the town trustees were hoping that we might request a monetary contribution to the Threatened and Endangered Species Program in order to successfully protect all involved municipal parties as well as residents, and especially to continue to allow 4x4 driving on the beaches. The plover monitors monitor the entire stretch of beach in the village every 3 to 5 days, regardless of whether there are nests present or not. When there are nests present in the picnic area, as has been the case in the past couple years, the area is monitored on a daily basis, often twice a day, which consumes a tremendous amount of time and manpower. Actually, woman power, because our piping plovers stewards are presently women. As you know, when there are nests in the picnic area and limited beach driving is allowed, as has been the case in the past 2 summers, a monitor was required to be present from approximately 8 a.m. until about 6 p.m. each weekend day. The Southampton Town Trustees respectfully request a financial contribution of $9,856 by the Southampton Village Board of Trustees in order to continue or reestablish a successful partnership which balances the protection of endangered species and at the same time preserves the time-honored tradition of beach driving in our coastal community. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your anticipated support.
Thank you very much, Trustee Welker. Great presentation. And thank you for all you do for the village and for the town. As I told you the other day, a lot of people don't really see what's going on with the town trustees. They more see the town council, but you guys do a great job and it's often underappreciated work. So thank you very much for your presentation, and wanted to turn this over to the board to see if they have any questions or comments.
No, I just want to say thank you, Ann, for all your hard work and your time at the SAC on Saturday was very informative. So thank you for all your knowledge and hard work.
I can speak about this because I've worked with Ann over the last 2 seasons with the development of this plan, and this plan has gone back for quite a bit now with the town, and they really took the forefront years ago, from my understanding, working with the Fish and Wildlife as well as the DEC, to come up with this plan that the DEC and the Fish and Wildlife are very happy to grant us a lot of leeway. So this is important, and the point she makes about it, it's about, protection of an endangered species, but it's also about the, freedom that we have to, access the beach, and understanding that it is a lot of work. There are these monitors that do it twice a day. And, even on the weekends, there's more, it becomes an enormous expense to the town trustees. And moving forward, continuing that positive relationship with the town trustees, especially with all the, activities we have going on with our water quality and things, and using this relationship to basically bolster a better path moving forward, I think is important. And I do support this. And, and we've had some really good conversations with the DEC as well as the Fish and Wildlife, and they are really listening to us from our perspective, and how I really strongly believe going forward, we're going to actually be able to make a very good place to actually have plovers one day be in a secure area.
Thank you.
And thank you for the presentation. And as seeing you on Saturday and talking then about dialogues and communication and collaboration, this is a perfect way to continue down that. So thank you for the presentation. I wholeheartedly support the endeavor, and happy to participate from my end on it, on the board.
Thank you as well.
Okay, excellent. So again, thank you, Trustee Welker. We're going to keep on moving on, and thank you for keeping it brief as well. The third board presentation is going to be tabled until June 10th, 2021. That is the PD Reform Study Corrective Action Plan discussion from Chief Tom Cummings. He has a family commitment today, and we wish him and his family well. The fourth board presentation is going to be the Southampton School Ocean Action Program. We have Heather and Kimberly here. We had the pleasure of going to the Southampton School District to see the Ocean Action Program, and we're looking forward to hearing the presentation. Do note that we have many resolutions, but we of course know that you'll be very concise and to the point as you are with your students, but we're looking forward to this presentation. So we'll let Heather and Kimberly take it away.
Heather, you're muted. There you
Oh,
go.
okay, thank you. I'm going to let Kim begin, and we do have two students, so they actually are going to give the bulk of the presentation. But I'm Heather Hawks, and this is Kim Milton. She'll tell you a little bit about the program, and then we'll turn it over to Charlie Nichols and George Gutierrez.
Well, I have the pleasure of working with Heather Hawks. We co-teach oceanography together, and we made it our mission this year of not just teaching oceanography, but trying to raise awareness and have the students take action and do a take action type of project. So an ocean advocacy. And the students worked really hard over the last couple weeks, looking at different organizations, researching, finding out about the organization before they started to or decided to back and support each of these organizations. And so we have Charlie and George, who are going to tell you a little bit about what our students have decided to do, and they represent the approximately 70 oceanography students that we have at Southampton.
Hi, my name is Charlie. I'd like to begin by thanking you all for letting me speak to you today. I'm a senior at Southampton High School, as well as a lifeguard at Cooper's Beach, and I'm here to speak to you all on behalf of my oceanography class and my ocean advocacy group. We are looking for your help on a few requests in order to preserve our wonderful beaches and wildlife. To start, we're looking for approval for a beach cleanup on June 12th. In order to maximize our turnout, we are also looking to suspend the need for a parking permit from 8 to 12 p.m. on that day. Separate from the beach cleanup, we're looking to post small signs with contact information for animal rescue, as well as the stranded animal logo. Lastly, we're looking for your permission and cooperation to post anti-littering signs on or near the garbage cans on the majority of the beaches. Our oceans offer us so much, from fun activities like surfing and swimming to financial opportunities like lifeguarding, and it's our job to take better care of them. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Charlie. That was great. Will George be presenting as well?
Yes, yeah.
Excellent.
Hi, hello. My name is George. I'm also part of the Ocean Advocacy and to help out our waters. And in addition to what Charlie said, we would want to complete the following. Possibly at the beach cleanup, we would like to hand out some flyers about fishing license, because some people don't have fishing license and most people don't know how to get them. Some people think that, they cost money. And maybe with the flyers that are left over, we can put them in town hall. And the reason why this is important is because certain people catch small fish and you're not really supposed to keep them. And what I've also seen, people catch, big fish, and they usually have eggs in them. And, those eggs could possibly become, baby fish someday. And lastly, we would like to have a sign on the train trestle to encourage the community to help out on the beach cleanup. Yeah, that'll be all. Thank you. Not gonna lie, I was kind of nervous this whole time.
Charlie and George, that was excellent. I can tell you that I believe that our entire board is in support of this. We all thank you on behalf of the board. And just to run down the list, absolutely, we've got a resolution for the approval for the beach cleanup on tonight's agenda. We might be able to do a walk-on if it's not already on the agenda from the 8 to 12 parking for the beach cleanup. I think that's a great idea about posting small signs, and in particular, anti-littering signs on the beach. And I actually think what our board should consider, it's actually a great idea, Charlie, but I think we should actually increase the fines for littering, particularly on the beach. So if we can probably have a public hearing to amend our local laws, and we'd love to invite you back for that public hearing. But I think that's a great idea. And then George, absolutely, feel free to hand out some of the flyers. You're welcome to come to Village Hall. You can come meet our clerk or deputy clerk, and they could help assist you both installing those and the signs outside, leaving them here at Village Hall. But we're very happy to help, and we really appreciate you guys coming down. And we wanted to thank Ms. Hawks and Ms. Milton for their time as well.
Thank you. Could I have just another moment more? The students have worked, so hard in learning about many of the advocacy programs. And we had the great fortune of collaborating on this particular cleanup. And part of the reason we wanted to post the signs on the stranded animal is that we'll be working with the Atlantic Marine Conservation Society. And as we collect the debris from the beach, we'll be calculating all of the data and sending that up to NOAA so that they can do whatever they do with it. And in addition to that, we're working with a school out of Long Beach that is presently in the process of creating small art sculptures from marine debris so that they can begin posting them on beaches around Long Island so that Atlantic Marine Conservation Society can start mapping and tracking where sea turtles are. So to be continued. We want to thank you all very much for taking the time to see us this evening, because it looks like you've got a full agenda. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And a special thank you to George and Charlie. That was a great presentation, guys. Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. All right, our next presentation is number 5, the Rogers Mansion Improvement Plan. We've got Tom Edmonds, the executive director, here today. It's great to see you, Tom. And if you can keep it on the briefer side, we'd be appreciative. We've got a lot of resolutions tonight, but Tom, the floor is yours.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Miranda, am I gonna switch over? I have a presentation. Share screen. Okay. And thanks for your patience. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
This is the Rogers Mansion. This is what you see as you drive down the street. And I want to thank the trustees and Mayor Warren for giving me this opportunity. I should remind you that the Rogers Mansion, managed by the Southampton History Museum, has a 70-year history with the village. In 1951, the museum signed a lease for the Rogers Mansion and the property. And the lease continues right now until 2066. So we hope to continue this wonderful relationship we have. This is village property. The Rogers Mansion is owned by the village as well as the grounds, and we manage it for the village. Why? To preserve our heritage and to have activities for residents and to be a tourist attraction. I should also mention this is one of 4 properties that we manage. We own and manage the Thomas Halsey Homestead on South Main Street. That's New York State's oldest wood frame building. And we also manage the Pelletreau shop, which is also owned by the village. The Pelletreau Silver Shop was built in 1686. And we also manage Conscience Point, a 5-acre marshland that's also a preserve with a fish hatchery. So the Rogers Mansion is one of 4 properties, but of course, this is our heart. This is where I'm speaking from right now. But I just want to show you the Rogers Mansion, what's happened recently that's come to the attention of myself and our board. It's falling apart. That chimney that you're looking at on the right-hand side, bricks are falling off of it. It's starting to collapse. Luckily, nobody's been hit with those, but they are falling on top of the music room that's right here. Can you see my cursor? Is that? It's kind of faint, but you can also see the gutters have rotted out. A lot of the wood trim up here, and you can see the balustrade at the top. The balustrade it really needs a lot of attention. Here's the chimney from the rooftop. You can see the church in the background. Those are some of the bricks that are falling off, and it's imploding. It's been leaking since I've been here. I've been here 15 years now. and leaks are snaking down through the chimney. John Cause and Gary Gillespie are both aware of this. They've tried to patch the roof 3 times since I've been here, and it's a mystery. It needs very serious concern. Here you can see the balustrade. People talk about using artificial materials on historic buildings. This balustrade is a composition material. I don't know exactly what it is, but it was installed on the roof of the Rogers Mansion in the late 1990s before I got here. If you look in the background, you can see there's just half a balustrade. No one ever notices this, but it is also over 20 years old and needs attention. And if you lean on this railing here, it wiggles. It's a danger to anybody that goes up on the roof. Here's one of the leaks that come into the Rogers Mansion. The museum is responsible for upkeep of the interior. We paint and restore and make repairs on the inside. That's on the museum. And I've had this painted over. This is on a 2nd floor bed chamber. I've had this repainted, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, and it just doesn't stop. I took that photograph yesterday. Here's some more, sadness. This is the pillars outside the music room that are separating from the molding that goes around the bottom. This doesn't look so terrible, but if you look at this window, this is a hard to get window that needs attention. The village has done a lot of small patchwork on this, and of course we're always grateful for that, but I should mention that on a very windy day, if you stand next to the Rogers Mansion, you'll see white flakes coming down, and it's not snow. It's chips of paint. Here's some more repair. This is, unsightly to people who are walking around. Visitors walk by these steps that go into the Rogers Mansion. Here's the beautiful backside of the Rogers Mansion that you see from the Main Street entrance that goes from Main Street back to our backyard. And I should say the Rogers Mansion represents 370 years of history, because in the core of this building is a 1650 one-room pioneer house built by the Rogers family. And so it expanded. The Greek Revival edition was put on in 1843. Sam Parrish, who lived here, would add a little wing in this funny little cantilevered room that sticks out. This is very funny, and architects feel like they want to straighten this out. I just love the character of this. But what's in danger is this column is rotting, and this cantilevered room here will fall over one day. So we've got the 1650 core in here in the center. I'll show more about that. There's an outbuilding that was attached during Sam Parrish's tenure here. And here's the back door where the kitchen is. These 2 windows on the top say 1750. They're 12 over 12 windows. And that just reveals more of the age and the story of this house, which I love to tell. Here you'll see the balustrades again in the 1843 section. This just came up last week. There's rotting on the building sill. There's a 1x8, I guess a decorative trim that covers up the sill plate, but this is a deep, deep hole that and it's wet, I could stick my fist through it. It's so bad. Here's the a support beam in the basement that was made in the 1650s. This is from the original Pioneer section. You can see it was carved by hand. It's almost like looking at sculpture. These marks that go across here are hand-hewn using an adze, A-D-Z-E, which was a tool used by Southampton's pioneers to make houses and to carve. 5 years ago, the carriage house, which is owned by the village, was looking very, very sad and need of attention. It was painted red in the 1950s because they thought it was a barn. It's not a barn, it's a carriage house. And the second floor here was used to hold servants or chauffeurs. But luckily, just a couple of years ago, the village hired Jen Messiano, the grant writer, to do a New York State grant. And it was a pairing of 70% New York State money and 30% village. So here you can see former trustee Nancy McGann cutting the ribbon with Fred Thiel and Jesse. There you are.
I see it. The good old days, Tom.
Good old days, right? So we've got a lot of people working on this and a lot of volunteers. So Paul Rogers has come up with a cost estimate of, and Joe McLaughlin, you saw a much smaller figure, but it's to replace the roof and do all this stuff, it's going to take $945,000. And this is just a draft. Paul is still working on that. So I think that's just what I'm asking the village to sponsor, is this grant written by Jen Messiano, and the museum wants to do our part. We're pairing a project by fixing up the grounds. So one thing that's always bothered me is when you walk down Main Street entrance and you come in here, and I should say 40% of our visitors come through this way. And before COVID in the year 2019, we had 53,000 visitors. 53,000 visitors, that's a lot. And what I'm embarrassed about is that you walk into this and it looks like you're looking at a private home. And you know, there's a brick walkway that takes you to the front door, but it doesn't say what it is, or it doesn't say anything important about why you should be looking at this. And this is my fault. This is not the village fault. If you look to the right, you see a bunch of dead grass or dying grass. And if you look to the left, you see the carriage house. The carriage house opens up this weekend. We're having a thrift shop there. That does not raise a lot of money for us, but it brings people to the property and to the village. We have lots of people coming in and looking. We take a small consignment from things, but the biggest reason and the biggest draw for the Rogers Mansion during the summer will be the thrift shop. And how do you get there? What are you looking at? I don't know. I've seen people walk up to the brick walkway. They look down at the wet grass, look at their shoes, and then turn around. They leave. So we'd like to fix that. The driveway is huge. It's too big. Sometimes there's as many as 18, 20 cars in there, and it looks like a used parking lot. This is funny and sad at the same time. We have 5 different styles of fence around the property, and here's 3 within one photograph. And I should mention the animal barn behind here. This was part of the Rogers Mansion complex, and this is where the animals were, and it was also built in 1843. But this really needs attention. And here is what you see when you come out the front door. So you go in and look at this beautiful interior, but you come out and you see this very sad tangle of fence. And this is our border with our Main Street neighbors. So what are we going to do? With the museum has a committee with Trustee McLaughlin, CMAC Sammy, Sean Denny, and John Rachel have come up with a plan. And this is a second draft by CMAC Sammy, who's also designing the landscaping for SAC and Peter Marino's foundation. So with the same designer, with the same look, with the same labeling, we want to, as Trustee McLaughlin said, create an acropolis of these 3 gorgeous, beautiful, historic buildings in the village. So the cost is going to be about $500,000 to $750,000 for the museum, and we're applying for a Gardner Foundation grant, which we'll do 50%, and then we'll fundraise for the rest of it. But if I can just walk you through this a little bit, the gates here, there's a half circle entrance that hasn't been open, but we're adding a brick walkway that's going to go up this way. We're keeping the existing brick ramp, which is ADA compliant. And so you're going to come up to the front door of the Rogers Mansion, and there's going to be a millstone we have 5 unused millstones, and we're going to use those as focal points to look at the house. And there's going to be a bench here. But look at this beautiful curvilinear brick walkway that goes around. And the Rogers Mansion visitor is going to, instead of just wondering what they're looking at, they're going to be guided with labels in this beautiful curvilinear brick walkway that's going to go through a open trellis, like a grape arbor or something like that. There's another millstone with labeling to tell people what they're looking at. This green line here is all going to be natural fence. I'm not a botanist. I don't know what they're talking about, but we're having a landscape designer install a natural fence here that we don't have to maintain. So that's going to go around here. Here's the Main Street entrance right here. This is a brick platform that CMAC has designed a weave, a brick weave, like a basket weave design. And another millstone with labeling. You're going to go around here. The anchors that are in the driveway are going to be here, in the whaling tripod. The whale boat that used to be over here in the pergola 20 years ago will be open and on view. And then you're going to come around here to this sort of arena, a natural arena of bricks lining grass right here, with steps going up this way to the brick walkway. And then there's another natural steps of grass and brick. And then you go around here down to the Sayer barn and over to this. This is again, sort of a soft driveway with pavers that have grass growing through them. So we're very excited about this. The board has been talking about doing something like this for 5 years. And why do we need it? Because since COVID, our lawn is more important than anything. I consider this a village park. Right now, some of you know Kathy Bishop last year formed the Southampton Youth Task Force. We became the home for the task force. We had children and families on our property every single day. Right now, you're looking at it's family blanket reading time or something like that. The 4 high school students over here in the blue t-shirts were the teachers for these programs. And we had several different kinds, but you can see that families are social distancing on their blankets. October was fantastic. We celebrated Halloween all month long with having timed visitors come onto the property in groups following COVID restrictions. They didn't go inside, but we had volunteers in all the outbuildings dressed up as vampires, witches, ghosts, and it was free. All of our education programs are free. And the Saturdays in October were a lot of fun. It was a lot of people. I didn't count. I was outside taking temperatures as Dean McNamara was watching me across the street. I know he was waiting to arrest me, but luckily we did all the right things. So that's a pairing. I think this is a match in heaven between the village and the museum, that we can improve this very necessary building. And that's it.
Thank you, Tom. We really appreciate it. I will not forget that picture you put up there. It was from August of 2019, a long time ago. I actually remember talking, I'll never forget, I met Assemblyperson Fred Thiel there, and he says, "How's it going? How's it going being mayor?" I said, "Good, so far, no problems." And he says, "Don't worry, there's time." So I remember that Fred quote, but thank you for the presentation. The good news is that the village will be putting together a 3-year capital budget. It's the first time we'll be doing that. So our board will be able to determine appropriations in the capital budget, and our treasurer, Charlene Hagel-Betts, will be hopefully rolling that out for discussion as soon as hopefully next board meeting in June. So that's good news. And thank you for the overall visuals and the plan with CMAC. So it looks like there's a lot of good potential improvements. And then in the interim, if there's anything that our village building maintenance department could do to help, please do let us know. I don't know if there's any other additional comments from the board, but definitely a good comprehensive presentation. So thank you, Tom.
Hi, Tom. Just checking up because I know the last I spoke to you was last summer. I said when I sat down with your board and the gardener. Has that been submitted yet? I know there was not yet. Okay.
No, we missed the March deadline, and there's another one in August, so we're shooting for that.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom, for the presentation. I knew that the building needs a lot of work because Gary's been filling me in on what's been going on there. And it's such an important property for our village. And you're right, it's not so welcoming when you walk in there. So many things are broken. So we hope to do what we can for the village. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Tom, thank you again. We'll keep moving. We do not have any communications to the board tonight. We have a discussion item, but I'll keep that very brief because we'll have an opportunity to discuss that in the suggested resolutions. And that discussion item would be term limits for village board and mayor. All I wanted to say is that I believe it's time that we modeled this at least after Southampton Town, where they have term limits. It's important that no one person could remain in office for too long. But again, I'll just think we could keep on moving here because I know we have a resolution later in our agenda tonight, and we'll have time to discuss that. But the goal is just to get a public hearing out there. Charlene, let me know if I'm correct here, or if we'll need a walk on here.
There is a resolution on for noticing the public hearing.
That's right. Okay, very good. I see it. All right. Resolution 14. So I guess we can discuss then, but I just wanted to quickly bring that up. So Charlene, I'll let you take over for suggested resolutions.
Thank you,
And
Mayor.
thank you, everybody.
Resolution number 1, resolve the Board of Trustees approves the proposal of D&B Engineers and Architects for engineering services for the map and plan to create the Southampton Village Sewer District at a cost not to exceed $87,530 and authorize the mayor to execute the contracts. And be it further resolved, if grant funds are not approved, any local match will be paid from the village water quality capital reserve. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Resolution number 2, resolve that the Board of Trustees approves the 2020 Retirement Service Credit LoSAP for Southampton Volunteer Ambulance Corporation. Corps, I'm sorry. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 3, the Board of Trustees approves the service credit reporting for retirement purposes is adopted for elected officials who took office October 1st, 2020. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
New York State retirement actually requires that our elected officials fill out a 3-month sample calendar, which we use for reporting service credit to the retirement system. And this was basically, we have, a certain number of months to have this completed. So there is, this is just a reporting requirement for New York State. And trustees Aresta and McLaughlin were new members to the board, so they had to fill up their sample calendar, and that's what this reporting is all about. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 4, the board.
Charlene, Ken here, sorry. Did you do the posting requirements for
Well,
that
actually,
report?
what happens, once the resolution is approved and I seal it, then it has to be posted for 30 days before I
30.
can submit it to New York State.
Right, 30 days, right?
Hmm?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Number 4, resolved that the Board of Trustees approves a refund of the 2020 event public safety fee paid by $15,000 paid by USA Endurance for the marathon that was canceled due to COVID. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 5, the Board of Trustees approves the Southampton Cultural Center Summer Concert Series in Agawam Park, 2021 Concerts in the Park Series. Wednesday, July 7th, Agawam Park, 6:30, Electric Light Orchestra Tribute Band. Wednesday, July 14th, Cooper's Beach, Southbound Country Band. Wednesday, July 21st, Agawam Park, 6:30 p.m., John Fogerty Tribute Band. Thursday, July 22nd, Good Ground Park at 7 p.m., Ad Lib Steel Orchestra. Wednesday, July 28th, Agawam Park at 6:30 p.m., Eagle River Band. Wednesday, August 4th, Cooper's Beach at 6:30 p.m., the Loan Sharks. Wednesday, August 11th, Agawam Park at 6:30, Penny Lane Beatles Tribute Band. Wednesday, August 18th, Agawam Park at 6:30, Radio Flashback Band. Wednesday, August 25th, Agawam Park at 6:30 p.m., Mambo Loco. Wednesday, September 1st, Agawam Park at 6:30 p.m., Mean Machine. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 6, the Board of Trustees approves the appointment of Joshua Ray Bard as laborer in the Highway Department effective June 1st, 2021 at a salary of $43,293.31. We have a motion.
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 7, resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the temporary closure of Narrow Lane for Southampton High School commencement on June 25th. Rain date is the 26th from 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. We have a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 8, resolve the Board of Trustees authorize the village administrator to execute a contract with Theodore Sklar PC to provide legal advisory services to the Ethics Board in connection with the complaint at a rate of $250 per hour, not to exceed $2,500. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
And second?
Second.
All in
Discussion.
Discussion? Trustee Polero?
Ken, can you walk us through a little with regards to the ethics board? And it was my understanding that you are the attorney for the ethics board. And I'm just wondering why we are looking to hire outside counsel with regard to this matter.
Okay, if you take a look at the village code, your village code has a chapter completely on the code of ethics. And the section that talks about the attorney for the board is Article 4, and it's section 7-23, subsection E, and I'll just read from it to make it easier.
Perfect.
The Board of Ethics shall have the confidential advice of legal counsel employed by the Village Board of Trustees, or if none, the village attorney, and the services of a confidential secretary employed by the village. So the way I read it is that the Board of Ethics can request their own special counsel, and in the absence of a special counsel, it defaults back to the village attorney. My understanding in the past, before I was here with the village had retained, I think, special ethics counsel on a case-by-case basis, as opposed to a general standing attorney. I could be wrong on that, but I know Steve Leventhal in the past handled, I believe it was on a case-by-case basis, but I could be wrong there.
Okay.
So the Board of Ethics is, entitled to their counsel of their choosing, and in the absence of any special counsel, it defaults back to the village attorney.
Okay, great. That certainly answers a couple.
And Ken, I was unable to speak with you earlier, and I actually would like to see this table only because obviously there's some issues that have come up regarding myself, and I would like to seek your advice on this topic prior to this going forward. Are you aware of any of what I'm referring to?
I don't, unfortunately, we didn't have an opportunity to speak today, but yes, I am aware of what you're speaking of. I believe I'm aware of what you're speaking of.
In light of that, would you advise that I would recuse myself? I would recuse myself on this matter?
Well, there's two separate questions. There's one that whether or not you want to table it or not, and then whether or not you should recuse yourself. I don't think there's a requirement for you to recuse yourself necessarily. But if this gets tabled, we can discuss that more offline.
What is the appetite of the board? Would we mind tabling it until the issue is resolved?
I just have a quick question, then I'll answer that one. So a complaint was filed against one of our employees of the village, and my understanding is that there was no signature on the complaint of someone who brought it forward. How does that operate? Generally, my understanding, talking to some legal counsels, that you should have a name to something. And so, Ken, could you advise me on that? Because meeting is sending a letter to the editor at the Southampton Press. You cannot put something forward without putting your name down. And it seems that if this is the case, how is this warranted? Because more importantly, the employee that is being accused of something doesn't have the right to refute the people who are accusing them. So I'm a little bit confused if this should even be entertained and to even start to spend money on something that we're not sure is even credible, because we don't know if this was I don't know if it's a prank or if it's something, but again, generally someone should put their name on something they're accusing someone of. So you want to take me a little bit through that?
Well, if you're asking for legal advice in open session, that's generally not how I would prefer to move forward. But there is no prohibition from investigating anonymous complaints, whether it be an ethics complaint, whether it be an harassment complaint. The village code does not have a section that says anonymous complaints should be ignored and should not be investigated. So I personally believe that complaints should be investigated. Some people they prefer to remain anonymous so that there's no retaliation, and you don't end up with whistleblower issues down the road. Of course, when complainants sign the complaint and you actually know who it is, it's helpful because it helps the investigation. You get to interview that person, you get to find more information, you get to ask questions. But I do not believe the fact that a complaint is anonymous means that it should be summarily dismissed.
So,
with that said, if the ethics board gets their own counsel assigned, they will probably ask him the same question, and he will answer as he sees fit, or he or she sees fit to that inquiry.
okay, so my other question would be to this topic. Would it be before we hire someone, because I'm not sure about going ahead and doing this at this moment, tabling would be something I would prefer to look into this matter. But Ken, is it something that you can request, being that you are overseeing the ethics board also? And then is due process being violated here for the person who's being accused? Because
If I may interject, I believe they do have a signature. That's the information I received because I asked that question.
Anna, Charlene, is that something that has been?
I don't think that this should be tabled.
May I make a suggestion that we have a brief if we can speak in private this evening after our meeting, I think that would be amenable if we can discuss this, if that's okay. So maybe we can discuss it after the meeting. Have a brief executive session. How we feel about that? Get this over with.
Regarding the tabling, I'm actually fine. Trustee McLaughlin, if you'd like the table, or Trustee Parrish like the table, I'm totally fine with that. I mean, I'm whatever makes you guys comfortable is fine by me. I really just would like to work with you guys and happy to take your lead on this one.
As I said,
That'd be
I'd be open to having a brief executive session this evening if you want to discuss it afterwards.
Well, Mayor, may I ask,
Sure.
that we table it until after exec session? And if you want to have a brief exec session, and then if we come back, we can revisit the resolution. I think you're muted, Mayor.
Well, Kat was just asking me why Sheila has her hand up, but I think it might be a mistake, so I knew I was on mute. I'm fine either way. If Trustee McLaughlin and Trustee Parrish like to table it, totally fine by me. Be great to get to the resolutions. Fine going into executive session, fine not. Happy to work with everybody here. And so really up to you guys.
So
I'd be, well, I would actually prefer us to get to the agenda first, and then if we are going to go to have a conversation, I would like to get to this first. Get to the agenda first.
okay, so can I have a motion to table the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
I'm gonna vote for yes for it, but I just want to mention we'll go through the resolutions just to have a nice, good standard meeting, then executive session, then we could come back
It'll be tabled till a later portion of the meeting.
till later, but that's what I was saying, till later portion. But thank you, Trustee Parrish and Trustee McLaughlin for your comments.
So a vote for a tabling to the latter part of the meeting. Do we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, resolution number 9, the Board of Trustees supports the local New York State Public Service Commission's motion to enable Community Choice Aggregation Program petition for declaratory ruling and clarification concerning the implementation timeline of CCA programs and offerings. I believe this was at the request of Trustee Polaro. They are requesting the village board to sign a letter of support. I have the draft letter here, which I will put on village letterhead for the trustees to sign upon adoption of this resolution. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 10, resolved that the village board both supports and authorizes the mayor or his designee to sign any and all necessary documents pertaining to the Nugent Street bioswales project, including but not limited to the intermunicipal agreement, subject to review and approval by the village attorney to participate in the above referenced program. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution number 11, the Board of Trustees approves the payment of shift differential for traffic control officers working evening and weekend shifts as follows. Weekend evening, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., additional $1.50 per hour. Weekend evenings, Saturday and Sunday, after 8 p.m., additional $2 per hour. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Quick discussion here, keep it very brief. This came as a result of a conversation with the chief, as well as Lieutenant Wetter and Angel Perez, our ordinance inspector. We know that it's very hard to find a good TCOs. We've got a good group, and we wanted to make sure that they were rewarded for working evenings and weekends, particularly where there's a lot of action. We're expecting a very busy summer. So we want to make sure that we do a little better job compensating our well-deserved TCOs. So this is why this came to fruition. I think it will give them just slightly a little more, motivation and just show of our support from the board. So I just want to thank the board for this.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 12, resolve the Board of Trustees approve the Hope for Depression Research Foundation run on August 8th, 2021 from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. in accordance with New York State guidelines. We have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 13, resolved that the Board of Trustees authorize the village administrator to publish the notice of public hearing on June 10th at 6 p.m. to amend the village code, chapter 110, section 110-43, schedule H, speed regulations, more specifically impose a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on Halsey, Pelham, and Prospect Streets. I believe we have an amendment to this, Mayor.
Yes, we're just going to add Somerset Avenue as well.
So we have resolution on the board. So we'd have to have a motion and a second on the resolution. So do we have a motion on the resolution?
Motion.
A second? And then we would have a motion to amend the resolution to add Somerset Street. Do we have a motion to amend?
Do we need a vote first on the resolution and then do a second resolution?
No, I believe, Mayor, we have to amend the resolution and then vote on the amended resolution, correct? Attorney Gray?
Yeah, there should be, yes, the answer is yes. You need approval to amend the resolution.
So we need a motion to amend the resolution to add Somerset Street to the notice of public hearing.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Second.
Discussion?
Trustee Polaro.
Charlene, do you want to read Gary Gillespie's email or can I read it into the record?
Sure.
Sure, just from our head of DPW after speaking with him yesterday. Good afternoon, all. I just read the agenda that the board is considering making changes to speed limits and adding stop signs in the village. I am aware of the concerns for speeding, but did not know we were moving forward with any changes at this time. As for adding stop signs at the intersection of Pine and Meeting House, the MUTCD states that stop signs should not be used as speed controls devices. They are to be used only as a means to allow traffic to safely enter a roadway. We previously had a three-way stop sign at this location, which made the road more congested and difficult for school buses. The three-way stop was removed when Pine Street became one-way north and removed any need for stopping at this intersection. As far as changing the speed on West Prospect, Pelham, Halsey, and I gather we'll now add Somerset, we have recently ordered 2 speed trailers that were going to give us the data needed to make informed decisions, better to base our official decision making real-time information rather than the perception or of concerned residents. I certainly can understand making our village safer and wish to do it correctly without rushing into changes. Please take this letter into consideration for your meeting. So I just wanted to add that to the record and we can vote on the public hearing now.
Can I just add real quick? Just so if anybody doesn't know what the MUTCD stands for, it's the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices.
Thank you, Trustee Polaro, for the comments. Very good comments, and we appreciate them. The only thing I would add is that all we're doing tonight is we're just passing a resolution to have a public hearing. I definitely agree with you. I think we probably all agree with you that what we do need is a village-wide traffic study, particularly on many of the streets where we have 30-mile-an-hour streets that are now being used as pass-throughs or highways. We've heard from a lot of residents, particularly on Halsey Street, for example, that it's getting very concerning for themselves, those who have young children. And so I think, in my opinion, what would be best, and I think those are great comments, and we also really like the comments from Gary, is simply to allow us to have the public hearing. We can then put more comments on the public record. It would give us the opportunity to hear from our residents. And then we can also communicate to our residents in the public hearing that we do need to do some type of study. But I think it'll be helpful for those who are doing the study, and perhaps we want to put out an RFP tonight as a walk-on to do the traffic study. Those who are doing the study, the firm we pick, could also listen to the comments in the public hearing. But I think that what's brewing in the village is that there's a lot of safety concerns, particularly on residents like on Halsey Avenue, who are concerned about themselves and their children. And so ultimately, my goal tonight is just to put the public hearing out there, potentially to either have this as a stopgap measure or just to hear from our residents. That's really the purpose of it. And then we could determine whether we want to adjourn that public hearing and wait till a later date so that we can hear from a traffic study, because we do need a global traffic study. I think there's a lot of intersections and roads and streets and avenues that need to be updated with speed limits, and there's a lot of traffic right now with all the influx of people and people going back and forth doing work between, Hampton Bays and Montauk.
Yeah, good point. Absolutely need to look at the whole wide, and there's a lot of streets. I mean, we're finding that people are making their ways through those streets, but there's also a tremendous amount of more, and some of those speeds get up there, and it also puts a lot of wear and tear on our streets, which ends up costing the taxpayers also. So,
Ken, I do have a question. I know the village is prohibited of making the whole village one speed limit. That's against state law. However, is it possible the village could have all the village streets, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, be 25, so we don't violate the law? So if we make, let's say we make North Sea Road 30 and then have everything else 25, would that be plausible, or that's still a violation of New York State law?
That would only be justified after a very specific study and a recommendation from a traffic expert that comes back and says that you need to, when you're looking to reduce the speed, you have to do it with a dart as opposed to a hand grenade. So that's why you can't just uniformly reduce everything to 25 miles an hour. So I think carving out one street and reducing everything else is also just as prohibited.
Okay, thank you.
So I think we're up to a vote on the notice of public hearing.
Is it a vote on the amendment or a vote on the?
Vote on the amendment.
You vote on the amendment first.
I guess
So
all in favor.
All in favor.
all in favor, okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Now on the resolution as amended, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second? And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 14, the Board of Trustees authorizes the village administrator to publish the notice of public hearing on June 10th, 2021, 6 p.m. to amend the Village Code, Chapter 110, Section 110.43 to add a new Article 5, terms of office for village mayor and village trustees, more specifically, limiting the holding of office to 8 consecutive years. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 15, the Board of Trustees authorizes the village administrator to publish a notice of public hearing on June 10th at 6 p.m. to amend the Village Code, Chapter 110, Section 110-37, Schedule F, stop intersections, more specifically to install stop signs on Meeting House Lane at the intersection of Pine Street eastbound and westbound. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Trustee Polaro?
I will refrain from reading someone from Verizon. Apologies. I will refrain from reading the letter again, but we all know what it said regarding the stop signs. And I'm just wondering how, again, this kind of came about, considering that we have had discussion in the past, or there has been stop signs there. And I'm just wondering how the discussion kind of got ahead without Gary understanding or knowing that this was even being thought of or talked about, because I'm sure his input as to why those signs were removed would have been invaluable. Because I can remember when there were 3-way stop signs there when I was going to school. and being dropped off, and the traffic backups that it would cause. So I just am curious as to how this has been being put forward. And I know, again, it's just as for a public hearing so that we can discuss it in public hearing, have the public come in and comment. But I find it interesting that we're having a public hearing to reinstate stop signs when we had a public hearing to remove them in the past. And again, the head of the DPW didn't understand it or didn't realize that it was occurring.
Are there any other comments from the board?
Well, Trustee Aresta, as the head of as the liaison, do you have any comment on this?
Yeah, we have a very big problem in this village. I've discussed this many times with Gary. The mayor and I had numerous meetings with the police, and nothing seems to be helping. And it's very important that we do have a study, and we need to have village input. This is what I hear from our residents, and this is what the residents want. So we need to do a study, and if that's necessary to implement the change in the speed and speed limit in the village, and to put signs, I mean, that's fine. Gary didn't speak to me about this. He's away this week, so.
Right, but the problem is Gary, when I spoke to Gary didn't realize that these two resolutions were going onto tonight's agenda. And so my question is doing a study for the village is very different than opening a public hearing for adding stop signs. So, I mean, this board could authorize an exclusive traffic study to look at speed limits and to look at putting in stop signs and seeing if those needs to be done. But that is not exactly what we are looking to do or what we are asking to be done. We are looking to put on a public hearing to potentially change our local laws. If we want to just do a traffic study, this board is authorized to do a traffic study. And again, I think that would be a wonderful idea to put forward. What we do with that information then is what is set out going forward with regards to changing of our laws. So again, I have a feeling we're putting the cart a little before the horse on this situation. But again, it's opening a public meeting, and that's fine. But a traffic study would be much better done prior to all of this occurring, in my mind.
Well, I'm hoping this could be in conjunction, the two things together. I mean, we have to do something. You must agree with that, unless you don't want to do anything about the traffic, Trustee Polaro.
Absolutely. I'm not opposed to doing anything. I'm not opposed to doing a traffic study, but if that is what the first thing should be, then as a board, let's go ahead and tonight, let's walk on a traffic study for the full village of Southampton. I have no problem doing that. When we did the crosswalks on Hill Street, we did a traffic study. When we changed the light on Pine Street to make it a little longer, we did a traffic study. We had people sitting in that parking lot counting the cars going in and out. We had people sitting there trying to count the number of the people who crossed Hill Street at certain places. So this is all stuff that happy to be done. Again, let's just make sure we do it in the right way and follow the process.
All right, good. Well, it sounds like we generally agree on the general concept, and those are great points, Andrea. I wanted to thank you for those, and also wanted to thank our Deputy Mayor, Trustee Presta, because she's working very hard with the Public Works Department and really hearing a lot of comments from our residents who have a heightened concern right now, given all of the traffic in the village. And things have changed. The post-COVID world has brought on a different village for us. And so ultimately, all we're going to do is we're going to have the public hearing. And then I think that's a great idea. I think it's much needed to do the global village traffic study so we can walk on a resolution to have a request for proposal for the traffic study. I think we should do that. And then the good news is that all we're doing is we're having a public hearing. And then at any moment, our board can decide to adjourn the public hearing. But it's a good idea to get a head start. This board loves getting things done. I know I love getting things done. And what this will do is it actually notices it out, because as you know, there's a little bit of a lag. First, we have to notice it, then we have the public hearing. So we want to be in a position to act immediately when the traffic study is done, and act immediately if it turns out that a resident show in. It makes a lot of sense to put a stop sign on a meeting house just from hearing residents. But really, I think we could all work together on this one. And again, this just puts us in a position to move faster rather than slower. Like I said, we like getting things done. And actually, we take a lot of pride in getting things done. We take even more pride serving the residents of the village. Every little thing we can do, whether it's a stop sign, whether it's changing the speed limit, whether it's our team together getting those data collection machines that will also help enforce speeding, all good stuff that we're doing. So it'd be great to have a public hearing. And again, we can adjourn the public hearing if it's not appropriate. But tonight's meeting, by the way, really the focus is our sewer. This is incredible achievement for us. And so I'd like to just, make sure that we focus on that. We'll get these public hearings off the resolutions and into requests for public hearing onto the public hearing, and we could deal with it at our next meeting.
I agree with you, Mr. Mayor, completely. The one thing that, again, and I'm all for it, but let's just hope that we don't find out that other stop signs need to be put, or there are other streets that need to be done, because then we will have to go back. And Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll have to go back and renotice everything and change the resolution that we passed tonight if there are other streets or other areas where stop signs are, correct? So we'll have to renotice, republish a law, and do it all over again.
Yes, if you go out and do a proper study and it turns out that study has different suggestions, yes, you'd have to republish and renotice.
Okay, great. So we're clear on that, and we can move to a vote.
Thank you very much. Good discussion.
So on the resolution, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, resolution number 16, resolved that the claims for the warrant dated May 25th, 2021 totaling $88,594.28, warrant A17-B, General Fund, $22,210.20, warrant H9, Capital Fund, be audited and approved. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 17, that the Board of Trustees amends resolution number 10 from the Board of Trustees meeting May 13th, 21 to correct Cooper's Beach staff salary rates for Caroline Oakland to $16.50 per hour, Caroline Palumbo to $16.50 an hour, and Ray Sweeney to $15.50 an hour. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 18, that the Board of Trustees approves the attached budget modification number 310 to cover shortfalls in various lines. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 19, resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the Southampton High School oceanography class to host a beach cleanup on June 12th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Cooper's Beach. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
'Cause
Trustee,
I believe they asked that it was from 8 to 12 is the time that they were looking to do. So if I'll make a motion to amend it from 8 to 12.
And also with the beach pass.
Well, on the beach pass, the way that it worked last weekend with the surf rider cleanup that I attended, the Surf Rider Foundation had cards that could be placed in the vehicles. And I'm just wondering, would we consider wanting to do that, or would we want to just suspend it for all residents? Because there might be some residents or some people that just chance, and if they're there, they wouldn't know. So again, we might, I wonder if it wouldn't be, if we would want to just give them cards that allows them to give to the people who are participating in that, and those people then are free for not worrying about being ticketed at our beaches, or if we just open it up for everyone.
It's a great idea, Andrew. I think those passes would be great. And Ken, do we need a resolution for the passes, or can we just issue them?
I think it's probably worth including it in the resolution. that you're going to waive the fee for those participants who are in possession of the pass.
Okay, excellent.
So we'll add that to the amended resolution.
Yes, so the resolution will be amended to read that the event will should take place from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. We'll also have to have them, they did submit a beach permit application, and it does say 11 a.m., so they'll have to amend that as well. And to allow to waive any beach parking fees, permit fees for the group that will be volunteering. So on the amended so do we have a motion to amend the resolution?
Yeah, I made the motion to amend the resolution, so we need a second.
Second. All in favor on the of amending the resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the amended resolution, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, resolution number, I suppose I'm adding a resolution to advertise an RFP for traffic study.
We've got that. And then we also have another walk-on. We don't want to forget.
Yes, I have the 2-page
okay.
resolution. I have to
Thank you, Charlie.
wet my whistle before I read that one. So we need we need a motion to add on resolution number 20 to advertise an RFP for traffic study. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor of the added resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so what I would say is resolved that the Board of Trustees authorize the village administrator to advertise a request for proposal for a village-wide traffic study to be conducted. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So I have a motion to walk on a resolution that was submitted by Dar Riley. Do we have a motion for the walk-on?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so the resolution reads as follows. Whereas the effects of climate change are and will continue to damage and endanger Southampton Village infrastructure, property, livelihoods, and coastline, will continue to harm our farms and natural environment, encourage species decline and migration, spread invasive species and diseases, erode our beaches, and contaminate drinking water supplies as sea levels rise, reduce recreational opportunities, and pose health threats to our citizens. And whereas the Village of Southampton understands that climate change is primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels, and whereas we believe that the government's response to climate change can provide the village and its residents with an unprecedented opportunity to save money, build a livable, energy and independent and secure community, a vibrant, innovative economy, and resilient infrastructure. And whereas the scope and scale of action necessary to stabilize the climate and biosphere will require unprecedented levels of local, national, and global public awareness, engagement, and deliberation to develop and implement effective and just policies to address the climate crisis. And whereas the Southampton Village Board recognizes the urgent need to combat climate change by setting goals and developing specific steps for local climate migration, resilience, adaptation, engagement, and education, advocacy, and research and development programs. And whereas the Village Board, Southampton Village Board, is already a leader in environmental action, having been the first municipality in New York State to ban plastic bags, maintaining an environmental committee and clean water task force, pioneering new technology for algae control, installing electric vehicle charging stations, adopting dark skies legislation to prevent light pollution, and soon becoming a tree city. And whereas the approval of the climate emergency declaration is a critical step towards raising community awareness, support, and commitment to reach the village's goal of meeting the equivalent of 100% of annual economy-wide energy consumption such as electricity, heating, and transportation with renewable energy sources by the year 2030. And whereas as of January 2021, 1,870 municipalities and nations and counting worldwide have declared climate emergencies, including 31 countries, more than 31 municipalities in the Northeast, including New York City, Boston, Bar Harbor, Maine, and 10 townships on Cape Cod and East Hampton and soon Southampton Town, according to nearly 1 billion people worldwide, accounting for nearly 1 billion people worldwide. And whereas Southampton Village should act as a global leader by escalating its efforts to convert to an ecologically, socially, and economically regenerative local economy at emergency speed, as well as advocating for local, regional, national, and international efforts necessary to reverse global warming and its ecological effects of crisis. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Southampton Village declares that a climate and ecological emergency threatens our town, region, state, nation, civilization, humanity, and the natural world. And be it further resolved that by declaring this emergency, the village board is committing to taking climate migration and the elimination of greenhouse gas emissions as guiding principle and objective of all municipal operations, all policy and purchasing decisions, all planning and zoning decisions, all aspects of town business, and significant factor in the new master plan being developed this year. And be it further resolved that the village board appoint a climate action task force to guide the village and the community in implementation toward the goal of meeting 100% of annual economy-wide energy consumption with renewable energy sources by the year 2030, and thereby vastly reducing the village's greenhouse gas emissions and accelerating adaptation and resilience strategies. And be it further resolved that the village board, supported and guided by the proposed climate action task force in alignment with most recent scientific findings, engage and educate village departments, staff, and residents to take under advisement, adapt and expand whatever climate action plan results and all climate migration efforts. And be it further resolved that the village engage with resources afforded by various New York State programs, including but not limited to climate smart communities, and develop a renewable energy roadmap to demonstrate the progress of all measures taken so village employees and residents can track the village's march to its critical 2030 and 100% renewable energy goals. And be it further resolved that by adoption of this resolution, the village calls on the Suffolk County Legislature, the state of New York, the United States Congress, the President of the United States, all governments and people worldwide to declare a climate emergency and initiate a climate mobilization to reverse global warming and ecological crisis and provide maximum protection for all people and species of the world. And be it further resolved, in furtherance of this resolution, the village shall submit a certified copy of this resolution to New York State Senators Chuck Schumer and Christian Gillibrand, U.S. Representative Lee Zeldin, Governor Andrew Cuomo, New York State Assembly Member Fred W. Thiel, and New York State Senator Anthony H. Palumbo, Suffolk County Executive Stephen Bellone, Suffolk County Legislator Bridget Fleming, and the town and village boards of East Hampton, Sag Harbor, Southampton, Shelter Island, and Southold, requesting that their relevant support and assistance in carrying out this resolution is provided. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion. And thank you, Charlene.
We have a
second. We all second it?
Second.
Quick discussion.
Yes.
Ken,
Trustee Polaro.
Ken, what does it all mean?
It basically means that you support the mission of the presentation that was given, I believe it was at the last board meeting, concerning declaring the climate emergency. I did have a couple of issues with the first draft of this resolution on what it meant to commit to the village. So I did point out that obviously the one thing that it commits is that this board is now going to appoint a climate action task force and to support that task force. I personally don't know what, I'm assuming that task force will be a task force of volunteers. But I don't know what financial price tag that might come with. If they need some support from village personnel, to schedule meetings, to have meetings or whatnot. But, those are kind of soft costs that the board should be aware of. And then there was some more language in there that was altered at my request. Originally, the language, in my opinion, appeared to say that this board would implement any and all changes or suggestions from that task force. So what that language was now modified to mean that this board will take under advisement any of the suggestions and requests that come out of the task force in some form of a climate action, where was the word, excuse me, plan, that apparently the climate action plan that they're going to put together. So at first, the resolution appeared to tie the board to implement any and all requests or recommendations from the task force. With this resolution, the way it's been modified, you will certainly take them under advisement and will encourage the enforcement and implementation of those things.
Okay, great. And one of the questions I also, and I guess it's saying renewable energy by 2030. And also, when did you see the first draft of this? Because the first reading, the reading that Charlene did, and that's why I was so intently listening, is that's the first time I've heard this resolution. So, will we have to be all renewable by 2030? Because that's even ahead of some of the other climate change, or is that, again, a goal of the villages, or are we tied to that?
It's a goal.
It's a goal. Okay.
It's a goal. And to answer your question, I think the first time I got this was Friday, Charlene, if I could be wrong.
Yes, that's true. I got it and forwarded it to Ken.
Perfect.
No, I'm sorry, Thursday afternoon.
It's Thursday, right?
Thursday afternoon.
All right, great. Thanks for sharing, Ken. Much appreciated.
No problem.
And I'd like to make a quick amendment. When I spoke to both Sheila and Dar, they were hoping, and I agree with them, to have a committee instead of a task force. So I'd like to make an amendment to the resolution.
Charlene, you got to read it all over again.
I think we're good there. But I appreciate Kathy too, because she's gonna have to write letters to every elected official in New York State, pretty much so. And thank you to Sheila and Dar Riley for their help.
So on the resolution, do we have a vote?
Aye.
Do we need to make an amendment?
Are we amending it?
We're amending from task force to committee.
Correct.
That's what the mayor just, so.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend the resolution so that all references, and so I don't have to read it again, all references to task force will be substituted with committee. So do we have a motion?
Second.
And also, I see Sheila's hand up. Can she come in, or is that, I would love to have her come in, but is that reserved for public hearings versus a resolution?
Well, you don't need a public hearing on this matter, so it's not a public hearing. If you want to invite her in, you can certainly do so.
All right, we'd like to do that. So Sheila, thank you for your patience. All right, Sheila, we see you there.
Yeah, hi, everyone. Thank you very much. I don't want to take your time, and this may not be necessary at all. I just wanted to, of course, thank you for considering this. I know it's long. The reason it's long is it's based on the similar documents that have been passed all over the world, as you heard. But also, I just wanted to say we originally had the word committee. Ken advised us that maybe we couldn't use that word committee because the village board was restricting the formation of committees. So we came up with an alternative word. Frankly, I don't think we care what it's called. You can call it a committee would be great. if it's a task force, it doesn't matter. We're going to get the job done one way or the other. Okay. So, I mean, we only changed it to accommodate Ken's recommendation, but we're happy to go back to committee.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I actually made no comment on whether it was called a committee or a task force. I didn't.
Excuse me, that was probably my recommendation because we had just gone through, trustee Polaro had done some extensive research on revamping and streamlining our committees at a meeting in November. So we were trying to fit it in as a task force underneath the committee. So I had made that suggestion rather than go back and create another committee. So, but if the board is in favor of making that change, then that is, that's fine.
The only thing I will say, I'm sorry, I misunderstood my communication. I thought it was a package deal that the attorney had recommended the change. However, it may be better to use the word committee in the long run because of the requirements of the Clean Smart Communities program of New York State, which will bring a lot of resources and opportunities and grant money to the village. And I know they require a separate body, committee, whatever you want to call it, overseeing the plan because there's specific benchmarks that have to be met to qualify for the smart communities. And so it might make it simpler if there was a committee. But as I say, we can work with either.
Okay, good. So let's just go committee. Sounds good to me. And we're really happy that we can get this resolution passed and proclamation signed. And thank you, Sheila and Dara.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
And Mike Lieberman.
Okay, so on the amendment, do we have, I guess we're to the vote. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? So on the resolution as amended, do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that would conclude the resolution portion.
All right, excellent. We have one set of appointments tonight, and that appointment is resolved that the Board of Trustees ratifies the mayor's appointment of Mark Schaffer and Michael Lieberman as co-chairs of the Southampton Village Planning Commission.
I do have one question, Charlene, if I may.
We just may need a second, and then we can do this.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor.
And discussion, trustee McLaughlin.
Yes, since we are doing co-chairs for the planning commission, which I think is a good idea, given the agenda they're doing with the master plan and so forth. Given that the commission is compensated, are we going to be giving both chairs, both chairmanship compensation for those stipends?
Yes, they would be entitled to that.
Okay. I just wanted that clarification.
And who are they? Is one of them chair already and we're adding, or are we replacing one for?
One, I think Mark Schaffer is currently the chair, and we're adding a co-chair.
Given that they're both professionals in their field of planning, I think that it could be a good thing, because Mike does have a long resume at the town in regards to planning, so he could really assist the village in going forward and making sure that we are doing things the right way. So.
Thank you, Trustee McLaughlin.
So all in favor of the mayoral appointment?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, we now move to comments from board members, alphabetical order. First up is Trustee Aresta.
Good evening once again, everyone. It's so exciting. We're going to have our 4th of July parade this year, live and in person. But I'd like to remind everyone that this Monday is Memorial Day, and there will be a ceremony that's going to be held in Agawam Park at 11 a.m. Of course, that's the time that we remember all those that we have lost in war and battle. So it's usually a wonderful ceremony. So I hope to see you then. The other thing I'd like to mention is, well, a couple of nice things. I'm sure everybody's noticed the beautiful flower pots that have been placed all along the red brick around the village with the beautiful flowers that are always given to us by the Ladies Beautification Committee. We thank them for that. Another exciting happening is the fountain in Agawam Park. If you haven't noticed, it hasn't worked in years. It's the wiring redone, the electric is working, the water is flowing, it's all painted, it looks beautiful, and I'm proud to say that it was done all in-house. Our masons did the masonry work, our house electricians did that work, and it really looks beautiful. Another Wynwood Way Park update, the corroded fence has all been replaced. The plantings look beautiful there. There's beautiful hydrangeas and some arborvitae that were planted as well, and that looks terrific. And at the request of the basketball players there, the water fountain is once again working, and that water is flowing as well. So I'm happy to report that. And I think that's it. I'm going to save the other big news for the mayor. There was one more announcement, but I'm going to save that for the mayor. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Next is Trustee McLaughlin.
Thank you. So I too want to thank all the presenters again for their hard work. I know especially Paul for his years of dedication to the Village Planning Commission, as well as this issue of wastewater is a big issue, and this is only the first step, and I'm looking forward to further village comment as to how we can proceed once these steps are completed. I too would like to say that this weekend is Memorial Day. Yes, it is the traditional kickoff of summer, which we all do enjoy, but of course it is also a time of reflection for those who have served our country. And I also want to say, I did speak with our administrator today, Charlene Cagle, and I did mention I did hear that the town is proceeding with a further review of the proposal of the affordable housing on 39, and I directed her on behalf of all of us to speak with Ken about possibly about writing a letter to the town board and the town planning board to raise our concerns as a village, because it is right on our border. Obviously, we do not want to be against affordable housing, but we should be consulted as we are neighbors. So Ken, I don't know if Charlene told you that, reached out to you prior to the meeting, but I did speak with her, and if you're able to send a letter at least by Thursday, I believe their planning board meets on Thursday, to have the town inform us more as to what they're planning on the property in terms of density and so forth. Obviously, it's a controversial issue, given that some of the egresses of that proposal will be going through our village streets, so it is a matter of concern. So if it's the pleasure of the board, I would like to see a letter sent on behalf of all of us to have this matter addressed. And so again, that's about it. So again, as I said, this weekend marks the beginning of summer, so it's great that summer will begin. And but of course, again, to remember that it is Memorial Day. So have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee McLaughlin.
Mr. Mayor, can I interrupt for a second? I apologize.
Please.
Charlene, obviously, I know we've already moved into the comments on the board members, and you did send me right before the meeting that there might be a request to send a letter to the town objecting to or pointing out the areas of concern that the village has. It would be appropriate to do a walk-on resolution at this point so that we can get a consensus from the full board, so that letter can be drafted, prepared, and forwarded by the town's meeting, which is scheduled for Thursday. Can we do a walk-on at this point, or is it too late in the agenda?
Not to interrupt, Andrew.
Actually, we could, we are going to revisit the tabled resolution from before when we come out of exec session. So let's just move it there, because there is a section later in the agenda for any resolutions that result. So we can just add it there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And I was just going to add to Trustee McLaughlin, we would thank you for those comments. And I think we would encourage you to go do that draft with Ken, but we'll have the resolution later on. So next is Trustee Parrish.
Good evening and happy Memorial Day weekend coming up. Quite different than the one we encountered last year. So looking forward to seeing people out and about and enjoying themselves. Please keep the village clean. There's going to be a lot of people around, and we're anticipating, a much different type of atmosphere than last year. So please keep the village clean. It's one of the things that the employees do work hard on, and it's a beautiful village. 4th of July parade, that is great news. It's one of our just storied traditions, and people will be very excited to have that. And thank you, Bob and the CVO for getting this all together. The fountain in the park does look beautiful. At night, it looks spectacular. So great job to all the people that were involved in-house to get that done. And last but not least, that is it. Oh, Memorial Day, sorry, Monday, yes. Monday, I encourage anybody who can attend. It's a very special service, and it will be something that you'll walk away feeling it's very powerful. So all the best to everybody this weekend.
Thank you, Trustee Parrish. Trustee Polaro.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to all the presenters tonight. They were very informative and really will help move the village forward. I would like to thank our EMS 501c3, Shane, the chief, and all their members. That organization just donated a Polaris trailer to the village that will serve the Polaris vehicle, which was donated by them previously. So thank you to the EMS and all their members for that. That's very, very much appreciated from the village. Also on this day, I want to remember George Floyd and take a moment for all of us to reflect on the work that we have done and the work that we have left to do, both as a community and a country at large. I feel fortunate enough this past year, I've been part of a team that's sole purpose is to improve our village and all our lives and the betterment of the community as a whole. So it's been 1 year today. Happy Memorial Day to all of you. I hope that everyone is safe over the long weekend and hope to see you out at the ceremony on Monday.
Thank you, Trustee Polaro. Few things. Wanted to thank our board tonight. As Trustee Parrish pointed out, the fountain does look good. So wanted to thank our deputy mayor for her help and leadership there, and also wanted to give a well-deserved thank you to Steve Phillips. He's doing a great job. He has been, spring season is here, and he has been excelling. Paul Murphy as well. He was out there paving Old Town Road, and the two of them did an excellent job. And also thank the entire Department of Public Works. Everyone was really stepping up, and just wanted to thank them profusely for their efforts. Number two, wanted to discuss a very exciting announcement that we have coming. Trustee Resta hinted this, but on Thursday, we will be rolling out and doing a press conference and a presentation for everyone to join regarding our new 311 quality of life app called See Click Fix. And you could go on the Apple store or any app store, and you can download the app See Click Fix. I wanted to thank Miranda Weber for her help in orchestrating the entire process, as well as the department heads involved. How this is going to work is that we've got an app you can download on your phone, and any quality of life issue, It could be a complaint, it could be a suggestion, it could be an ask for improvement. You could make a note, you could take a picture, and you will get a department head. It could be from Village Hall, it could be DPW, police department, and you'll be able to speak to that person or team and do it maybe even real time, and you'll get real time updates as to the suggestions. So this is all encompassing. It will give the village a map about where the issues are coming from, and everybody will be completely transparent. Everyone will be able to see exactly what's going on in the village, where the needs are, and we'll have our department heads really be able to address those needs of the village. This will be really good as it's a leaf blower season. So if there's a leaf blower, we'll know every single location by color code where those leaf blowers are. If there's anything, speeding, whatever it is, we'll be able to know, and it'll be completely transparent. Think of it almost a Waze type app for lifestyle and public quality of life. So really great opportunity. Again, I want to thank Miranda and thank Charlene for getting this rolling. Great job, everybody. So that's really important. Also very excited about the July 4th parade. Great news for our village, and thank Mr. Grisnick. One other thing I wanted to kind of briefly mention, because I think this has been lost and we haven't really spoken about this in a while, but I'd like our board and our leadership to kind of think about this for a second. So this hasn't been spoken about in a while, and no good time to bring this up. But since the pandemic, there has been a large rise in opioid deaths, unfortunately, as the opioid crisis has gotten worse during the pandemic. At the end of 2020, there was 90,000 deaths, and that's up from 70,000 in 2019. So I think as we progress over the summertime, it's an issue that has affected everybody, whether you're in Southampton or across the country. So I'd like our board to kind of think about this, about how we can address this. It may seem unusual to bring this up, but it has come up a few times. So just wanted to point that out, that should be a priority as well. And then lastly, again, like the rest of our board, just wanted to say Happy Memorial Day to everybody. This is an important day for our veterans and for those who gave the ultimate sacrifice to our country, and looking forward to the Memorial Day processions. It still won't be as it used to be, but we are improving, and I'm looking forward to honoring our fallen veterans. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing, I guess it would be specific.
Getting legal advice.
Getting legal for specific legal matters. And then we'll adjourn, and then we'll come back. And then I don't know if it's appropriate. I don't know if I see Sheila Pfeiffer still. I don't know if Reverend Pfeiffer wants to join us in executive session, but you can kind of stay there if you're interested.
Yes, actually, the Reverend has requested to address the board in exec session.
Okay, excellent.
So all three can stay?
Anne and Heather, they're probably not even still there, but they'll be out, and then just Reverend Pfeiffer will come in.
I'll send them out. Yeah.
Okay, so is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So is there a motion to leave executive session and return back to the regular meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I believe we have a tabled resolution from earlier, resolution number.
Charlene, before you get there, just let the record reflect that there was no actions and no motions made in executive session.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we are revisiting resolution number 8, which was tabled previously. Resolution number 8 reads, the Board of Trustees authorize the village administrator to execute a contract with Theodore Sklar, PC, to provide legal advisory services to the Ethics Board in connection with a complaint at a rate of $250 per hour, not to exceed $2,500. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Charlene, can you just add into that motion that it's pursuant to Village Code Section 7-23E as an elephant?
Read the code again, please.
7 7-23 subsection E as in Edward.
Okay, so the village code, the board, I will need a motion to amend the resolution to include that language. Do we have a motion
Motion.
and a second?
Second.
All in favor of the amendment?
I'd like
Aye.
to, I'd like to note my abstention from this matter, given what was discussed during executive session. So please note my abstention for the record.
Well, no, it's not an abstention. It should be a recusal.
I'm sorry, recusal, my apologies, recusal. Thank you.
So
Please note my recusal on the matters that were discussed in the executive session.
So noted. On the amendment, do we have all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the resolution as amended, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I believe we have one more resolution. Ken, would you like to read that language to me for the letter of protest to the town?
Sure, I didn't actually type anything out, but I guess we'll entertain a motion.
Just give me a summary.
We'll entertain a motion to authorize the preparation and transmittal of a letter to the town of Southampton and the town of Southampton Planning Commission or Planning Board in opposition to the proposed project which borders the village of Southampton on, what is it, County Road 139?
39.
39, excuse me, County Road 39, for the reasons that was stated concerning congestion, traffic flow issues.
And Ken, just to add one little caveat, I do think it should, we should make a point that it's the project as proposed, as currently proposed.
Very well.
And also, Ken, it may be the it's Southampton Town Council Board, not the Town Planning Board, I believe.
It should be both, I think, because
I think it's both, actually.
Yeah, it's both.
Oh, yeah, we're sending it to both bodies. Okay, I'm just typing it into our new resolution program. All righty, so do we have a motion on the resolution?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any,
Is this the last Zoom, Mr. Mayor? Are we going back in person in June?
That's right.
Okay. It's good for the public to know that.
We thank you for bringing that up, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Charlene, is that motion completed?
it is completed.
Okay.
Okay, with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.